Rescue diver, best course to do, to teach. It really pushes you not only as a student to be the safest diver, but as an instructor. You get to create scenarios to test your students. That puts you to the test as well. What is up, my scuba diving friends? Today I'm doing another ranking tier list, this time of the dive courses I, a scuba diving instructor, for the past 8 years, 10 years, 11 years? It's been too long. My favorite dive courses to teach. As you can see, I'm repping a Padi hat. This is because I'm a Padi ambassador diver, but also it is the only dive courses I have personally done or taught. Please let me know down below your experiences with NAUI and SSI and everything else, because I'd love to hear about what other dive companies are doing and what I personally enjoyed teaching. So, let's start it off. Check out our rankings. Start off with, I would teach it any day. So these are my absolutely favorite dive courses to teach. Second, I have a good time, not complaining. They're probably important to teach, which is why I have a good time. Orange is gonna be some days. Yellows, I quit. I don't like teaching these. And lastly, it's going to be no comment. So I'm gonna chuck all the ones that I have not taught into that category, but if you do have comments about teaching them, let me know down below. Open water diver. I have a good time. Honestly, a lot of people don't enjoy teaching open water courses. It is not something I want to teach exclusively and every single day, day after day, but I think it's such a beautiful moment to really be the person to first introduce someone to the underwater world. I don't know about you guys, but I remember all of my instructors and they changed my life. Being able to be that person for someone to introduce them into the underwater world and bring it to them in the scope of conservation and sustainability and protecting our oceans, and why it's important that we learn about what we're scuba diving with and how to be eco-friendly. I don't know, I'm a teacher. I love teaching, so yeah, makes sense. Next one, delayed surface marker buoy, no comment. Digital underwater imaging diver, no comment. Diver propulsion vehicle, no comment, but I'd be into that. Drift diver, honestly, I'll teach it any day. Drift diving is one of my favorite types of diving. You get to jump off a boat into a current and then just have the ocean take you on an adventure. Leading these dives can be a little bit stressful because you're in charge of a group and you really want to make sure everyone stays nice and close together, because quite often you'll have like a surface marker buoy showing the boat where you're at. So you want your group to be nice and tight. Sometimes the current can be ripping, which can be stressful. This was footage from Africa. Amazing dive, but we were going quick. So I was very happy there was only 3 of us and we were all pretty experienced. Dry suit diver, no comment. It is very important though. So if you're gonna be doing dry suit diving, make sure you've done some sort of course or at least a pool session so you're familiar with how to do it, so you don't end up with a squeeze. Enriched air diver, I have a good time. I enjoy explaining physics and, okay. I'm moving it to, I'll teach it any day. I love explaining physics and the different ratios of the gases. If you guys are ever interested in the more physics side of scuba diving, I don't know if you guys know, I do have a degree in physics. It was astrophysics and quantum physics, but still, physics is, one of the loves of my life. So being able to teach enriched air diver and give people the opportunity to dive with nitrox as well to extend their bottom times and to feel better after a dive. Advanced open water diver, I'll teach it any day. One of the best courses to teach. You get to, in a lot of places I've taught as an instructor, I had the choice to tailor which of the adventure dives that we would do based on the conditions or something like that. Quite often we got to do wreck diving. So we went to the HMAS Brisbane in Mooloolaba, Sunshine Coast, Queensland. Amazing. These divers are usually pretty experienced. They know what they're doing. You don't have to be babying them along the way. And they're people who are dedicated to diving and the ocean, and they want to learn more and they're eager for knowledge. And those are just my favorite types of students. I have the chance to really expand their horizons of the underwater world and make them better, safer, and more eco-friendly divers. Next one, equipment specialist diver, no comment. Fish ID, honestly, Any day. I love a good fish identification. Even if we're not doing a course, I will be teaching you fish identification. It's all about the shape, not the color. I love just doing anything in terms of marine science biology, giving background of what we're seeing, the interactions, everything like that. Again, massive nerd over here, so fish identification. Full face mask diver, no comment. Multi-level diver, no comment. Night diver, ooh, this one's hard. I'll teach it any day. In terms of how much fun it is, I'll teach it any day, but I'm also a massive wuss when it comes to temperature, and night diving usually means I'll be colder. I want to move it down, but no, I'll leave it up there because it's good fun. If you've never done a night dive, I highly recommend it. Sophie, why are you making noises? I do have several videos about night diving, so check those out. Peak performance buoyancy, I have a good time. I think it's such an important course to teach, or even just adventure dive to teach. I know a lot of people in our previous ranking video were talking about peak performance buoyancy is a stupid course to teach because everyone should already know how to do it. But unfortunately, not every single instructor that you're gonna have is going to spend enough time with every single individual diver to ensure they are the best at buoyancy. That's the reality. So having a course like Peak Performance Buoyancy will help those individuals really improve and be that safe diver that's not damaging coral, that's not hurting themselves, that can then be someone that leads by example. So if your buoyancy isn't good, practice, try get more practice, but do a Peak Performance Buoyancy course. There's no shame in trying to extend your learning and understanding. Some people, buoyancy is really easy for them. For other people, it's not as easy. So just, you know, that's my thoughts on it. Rebreather diver, no comment, I don't know. Self-reliant diver, haven't done it. Side mount diver, haven't done it. Looks like a lot of tanks, but Sarah from Azul Unlimited, she loves doing all side mount dives. So maybe I should find my way over to the US so I can try it. Underwater naturalist, I have a good time. I like talking about all things underwater nature. Honestly, fish identification and underwater naturalist, in my head, they're a little bit interchangeable. They're both ways to educate people about the underwater environment that we are diving in. So yeah, they're both up there in terms of how much I like teaching. Rescue diver, best course to do, to teach. It really pushes you not only as a student to be the safest diver, but as an instructor. You get to create scenarios to test your students. That puts you to the test as well. Keeping current with your rescue diver course and teaching it, it's like redoing your first aid every single year. It's such an important way to be the safest possible diver you can be. So I will happily teach the rescue course anytime. It is difficult. It is not an easy course to teach. There's a lot of components to it. It is stressful. It can be emotional. People can have emotional reactions to it, but it is just so worth it in terms of what you get from it and what the students get from it as well. Underwater navigator. Some days, honestly, I love a good compass. I said I would make you guys a video all about compasses, which I will. Some days I'm happy to teach it. Sometimes it does get a little bit frustrating when I feel like I've taught it and people just don't grasp it over and over and over again. So it can feel a little bit tiring. There's something about a compass that freaks people out, I think. They create a block that they just can't do it, even though it's not that hard. So I will make you guys the video so you can watch that and really just go through it. I've mentioned it briefly, but anyway. Deep diver, any day. I love going down. I'm extremely sensitive, so I do get narked. Not every deep dive I do, but I've been narked a few times. So that's always a little bit of a fun experience. Wreck diver, any day. Cavern diver, haven't done that yet. We don't have too many caverns or caves here, but again, Sarah, I've seen your videos on the cavern diving. I need to get in there. And props to you guys. I don't know how the claustrophobia. Ice diver, I struggle in 20-degree water. Search and recovery, I have a good time. I like really pushing my students in terms of search and recovery. And again, creating those scenarios. It's a bit like rescue diver. It's just slightly less exciting because you're like sometimes searching for an anchor for a dive computer. But it's just been such an important thing to teach and to be able to see people learn, because we lose stuff quite often, whether it's a person or a wedding ring. It's good to have the skills of knowing how to, again, use the compass, strings, various search and rescue techniques to find whatever you're missing and adjust it to what you're missing. I can't see what this is. Discover scuba diving? I'll put in no comment because I can't read it. Emergency provider. I mean, I'm obviously not quitting, but I'm not the biggest fan of teaching the actual first aid. I'll happily teach the rescue diver with the first aid, but I'm quite squeamish. So teaching people how to apply a tourniquet on a leg that's spouting fake blood, yeah, not my thing. I can't read this, no comment. Dive master. I have a good time. I won't put it, I'll teach it in any day because it is a lot of work and effort, and it is really that mentorship. So start to finish, I've taught, I think, 4 dive masters that are fully my dive masters that I taught them the whole way through. And that was a large chunk of my energy and my life. And I loved it, and they're incredible, and we're still very good friends to this day. But it is a mentor program. It is something you have to feel ready to do and take on. And of course, I've taught tens, 20, 30 others that have come through, and I've been one of the many instructors they've dealt with. That's great. But really the one-on-one, which I think is so important for a dive master, I have a good time, but I cannot do it every single day. I mean, it's always nice to have a dive master. So I don't know. Anyway. Dive master, I've already put it there. Why do we have it? Open water scuba instructor. I haven't had the chance to teach it, but I would love to. Specialty instructor, didn't get a chance to teach it. The rest of these guys, adventure diver, I quit. I'm kidding, Padi. Some days. I just feel that mostly it's worth just doing your advanced. If you don't have the time or funds to fully get your advanced course and you only have time to do a couple dives for adventure diver, then do it. But I think it just makes more sense financially to save your money and do the advanced open water course. Master Scuba Diver is basically a collection of 5 of these specialties, which again, I love teaching some of them, so if you get 5 of the ones I love teaching, then I don't mind, but it's not one of those courses I'm like, yeah, you know? Discover scuba diving. Some days, again, I have taken people underwater for their first underwater experience, and they have loved it, and they were capable, comfortable in the water, they could swim properly, and that was fantastic. Love it. I've taken my mom for a DSD. I've taught my brother to scuba dive. I did his open water course. My dad's advanced, my brother's advanced. So I've brought a lot of people underwater for the first time, and it's amazing. There's nothing as cool as seeing, but we all know that quite often, sometimes, there are individuals who are just not as comfortable in the water. They will swim to the surface repeatedly. They will not listen to instructions. It's just tiring, and in some places where you have to do multiple DSDs every day, day after day, it gets exhausting. So I think all dive masters and instructors know what I'm talking about. Where Discover Scuba Diving is a some days thing, love doing it, but I would hate to do it every single day. So this is my overview. I'll teach it any day. Drift diver, enriched air, advanced open water, fish ID, night diver, rescue, deep, and rec. Let me know your thoughts. I have a good time. Open water, peak performance, buoyancy, underwater naturalist, dive master. Let me know what yours would be. I have left it live down in the Snooba, so just head on over to there, fill out your own, send me a message. I would love to see how it goes.